My dog, what's up? How you doing today?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm doing great, man.
Good.
I've been excited actually for this specific one, just cause I know this one brings me back all the way to my childhood, so it makes me all happy here, man.
Well, pleasure to be here. Before we get started,
Yeah, no,
man, I'm a big fan of your work.
appreciate it.
But even bigger fan of you as an individual, father, your work ethics, man. I have people like you, and my circle is very small because I got to surround myself with great people, and you're like one of the greats. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
I do have something for you because you're a man of hats. I only have 3 of these made,
Oh,
and you're the first person to ever receive one of these.
oh my God.
I have one, my wife has one, nobody has one. So
Part of the family, yeah?
I got you a snapback, Blazers Tag snapback.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep this
But
right here.
that's my appreciation to you, man, and everything that you do, man.
Appreciate it. I'm officially a Blazer Tag member here. Y'all can catch me on my schedule. I may be working weekends. I'm not sure yet, so I'll let y'all know.
He's working for free,
You know what
working
I'm
for
saying?
tokens.
Yeah, I'm working for tokens and play, baby. That's all I do. And pizza, because they got pizza now, matter of fact.
Our pizza's
And
fire.
drinks, matter of
Yeah.
fact. We'll get to that. Hold on.
We
We'll
get
get
all
to
that.
I again appreciate you, bro. for
Yeah,
sitting
not a
down
problem,
with
man. I
me,
appreciate you.
Yeah, like I said, man, this is like a full circle moment for me. So I'm excited to do this, bro. This is one of my ones. I prepared for this one. I studied for this one.
Yeah,
Man.
yes, sir.
I got my journalism on.
Well, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, so let's get it rock and roll, man. Welcome to the real world, obviously. That's where we're at. Sitting down with my man Joe right here. I got a brief introduction, let the world know who he is. Today I get a chance to introduce to you a true force of fun and community leadership. From his early days vacuuming the floors to now owning and running the show, this individual has turned his place of business into the ultimate hotspot for thrills and laughter. But he's not just about the games. This person is all about giving back to the Austin community, making sure everyone's part of the fun. You can't run from the original Iceman of Blazer Tag, none other than Joe Ramirez.
Welcome, man. I
Clap it up
appreciate
for
you.
my boy Joe right here. Y'all know what it is. This is a thrill for me. Everything about this place just brings back memories from my childhood, just being a South Austin kid for one, but just all in all, man, this is just a great place to come hang out. I bring my kids here now. I get to see my friends who grew up with me in here, bring their kids, and then meeting you and everything like that, bro. Like I said, it's been a full circle moment for me, man. So being that we're in Blazer Tag, the space world, it's a whole new galaxy here. Space is made up of elements. And the thing that I thought would be the best was to give my 3 elements for you, for Joe.
Gotcha.
So my 3 elements for Joe are friendship, leadership, and inspiration. And I think these 3 words right here kind of summarize everything that I look towards you for.
Yes,
whether it be a friendship, whether it be the leadership to your team and the community members, and as well as just like an inspiration to us all, man. Like you said, I may be an inspiration to you or whatever the case may be, but you definitely have given that ability to us to allow us to say like, yo, if Joe can do that and make that a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's very important and it's very inspiring to us, man. So
I appreciate that, man.
My dog, man. Those are my 3 elements for you, bro. So yeah, let's get right into the questions, man. First off, we're gonna blast off here at Blazer Tag, and we're gonna get to know Joe a little. So before the bright lights of Blazer Tag, before the hustle and bustle of business ownership, there was just Joe, right? So let's peel back those layers and reintroduce Joe.
So basically, I grew up, in a household of 6, right? I had 2 brothers, 3 sisters. It's kind of like the middle child. Mom and dad, so there was 8 of us. And so with that background, we definitely had some, major struggles growing up. I don't know how my parents did it because my dad was the only one that was, working. And so, we came from some troubling times. We grew up in Dove Springs area, and growing up, I always kept to myself. Everybody played in the park or whatnot. I was there on side, doing my own thing, playing imaginary friends, whatever, basically, doing my own thing.
Entertaining yourself.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like I really didn't like interacting with people when I was growing up, But I mean, growing up in a full household, you kind of don't get that one-on-one interaction from like your parents and whatnot. So you kind of have to like fight for their love.
Especially when they're like working, trying to
Yeah.
make a living to just make ends meet or survive through the
Yeah.
month, or they want to give you the world. So it's like, yeah, we spend those extra
Yeah.
$5-10 that we may not even have.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, yeah, that's
Most definitely.
everything.
And so growing up, like I always wanted like my parents' attention, and I didn't know how to do that. And the one thing that I did was, I learned from my oldest. I have two older sisters and one older brother, and they have a lot of great success in their stories. But I also watched them, make their mistakes and see how they were to adapt after that. And so, based off of their script that they were writing, I took that and I used that in my favor. And so,
Yeah.
they're bright individuals. They graduated. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to excel that expectation, do well in school. Even though most kids, they don't like getting up early to go to school,
My
right?
son.
That's me, right? But I'm very good at school. And so I think the way that I wanted to try to win my parents over was to do really great in school. So I'm talking about from elementary to middle school, straight A's, presidential awards, all this and that. And so I use that as my advantage, and that's how I excelled in what I'm doing now, is because it was up until middle school where, I could have gone to Mendez or Better Check and all that, but I never had a program for me because I didn't realize the gift that I had until they actually, Covington Middle School reached out. It was like, hey, we want you to come over here and this and that. And I'm like, okay, let me go over there, because they had like these special programs over there to kind of sharpen my mind. And so, and then, went to Travis after that and graduated from Travis, played basketball, worked here during my time at Travis. And I don't even know how I really juggled through all that, having a social life, basketball, working, and then family life. And then, and it was up until my high school career. My parents, they split off and they divorced. And so, and it was up until that time when I realized like I really had to like step up. I had my youngest sister, my youngest brother. We were all living with my mom. So my mom was, pulling, 9 to 5s, double shifts and all that, just to kind of make ends meet. And so it was the summer of 2002 where I really wanted to step up. We didn't have much. School was about to start. And the goal was to get a job and earn some money so that way I can buy my siblings, their school clothes, their school supplies, and, help my mom out. And so it was in August, early August, where I started. And then, man, for those next 2 weeks until school started, I just grinded, man. I just hustled. We're talking about a 16-year-old working like 40-hour weeks. Like, I wanted it all.
There's a part of that, like seeing your parents grow up, and like I come from a split family too.
Yeah.
So my dad remarried, and then my mom eventually remarried as well. But I was almost born in Kmart.
Yeah.
My mom worked at Kmart. So
Yeah.
like she worked 2 or 3 jobs, and she'd always tell me like, "Hey, you're almost born in Kmart. I just had to work."
Yeah.
So does that like kind of like fuel you on to like
Yeah.
just make sure that not only that you don't ever have to have your parents in that position again, or you in that position, but further on generations, right, as our kids and
Yeah.
even the people that we lead like here, make sure like they don't have to go through that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, that fueled a lot of my drive. And what I went through, it wasn't the greatest scenario for me. And everybody wants what everybody wants, and that's just to be loved and appreciated, And if I can make some sort of impact and, show some love to some people, make them feel like they're worth it and appreciated, then that could be the difference maker. Because I've had a lot of, role models that were the difference maker, teachers, coaches. If it wasn't for their impact, then I probably wouldn't be here where I'm at right now, They wouldn't be in my ear and be like, you want to be great? You got to do what great people do. You got to do the work in front of people But the key thing is to do the work when people are not looking, right? That's where you're gonna really progress. Everybody wants to look good in front of everybody, but you got to put in the work when nobody's watching.
I agree. And speaking of those, like the coaches and everything, who are some of those people that you looked up to growing up that kind of like influenced a little bit more of that next layer of Joe?
Yeah. I had he wasn't really my coach. He was like my economics teacher, uh, Coach Glenn, at Travis. And it was at that point where, we had to like do like business projects and all that. And so I think that kind of helped, lead me towards the direction of like being a business owner of some sort. But he had a really great impact on me. And the one thing I liked about him is he was very, very honest, up front. He told me what I needed to hear, and not everybody can adapt to constructive criticism. Some people think, yo, he's just hating, but realistically, I would like people to tell me what I need to work on so that way I can evolve myself as an individual,
Be with like-minded people.
Yeah. And so sometimes I didn't want to hear some things that he said, but, it is what it is. And I look at it now as like he says some of these things because, he wanted me to get to higher levels.
Yeah.
And I appreciate him for doing that. And then Coach Wilson, he was my basketball coach for freshman and JV. And man, when I say this dude can play ball, like I'm talking about Peja Stojakovic, like type of stroke, like.
Man.
And he put me on a lot of stuff too, man. Because of him, I even love basketball even more. His IQ was up there. He just branched off and went to go be a head coach somewhere else because he was working underneath another coach.
That's dope. So what was young Joe like in South Austin?
Man, young Joe, South Austin, man. I love playing video games, playing basketball. It was either South Austin Rec or Duff Springs Rec. I just like playing basketball, and it's crazy because we go to the grocery store, and every now and then I run into a buddy of mine, and my wife would be like, "Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, this is so and so. Guess how I know him?" She's like, "Basketball." And I'm like, "Yeah."
I think I met the whole city through basketball.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, man. I have some brotherhoods that I've created throughout my life just because of basketball.
And that's Ditmar, all the good stuff like that. Battle Bend with everybody.
Battle Bend.
Of course, the Rex.
Yeah.
Those are like the Givens.
Zaragoza, Givens, Metropolis. I basically balled at every court here in Austin. Even balled in San Antonio. But yeah, I mean, I have a lifelong of friendships because of it. And it's great because at any given moment, if I need to put a team together, I'll just call Art or my boy Dre or Henry, anybody, and then we'll get a team together. We'll just play some weekend warrior type leagues.
Call the boys, get them together. We're going back and
yeah, we have to clear the weekend schedule, but also a couple of days after because
we're old.
Yeah,
man, that's that guaranteed minimum 3-day of pain recovery, and then everything else is just depending on how in shape you are.
Yeah, most definitely, man. But yeah, that's what Joe is all about, man. I like to be out and be active.
Did all that affect you at the point of your life? Did it impact you good or bad to the next chapter after that? Let's say from your teens to 20s and so on.
I think it was a good thing because it helped sharpen my decision-making abilities. I realized as when you're younger, you have abundance of energy, right? And you have the time to, address things on a daily basis, every day, whether somebody looking at you wrong, hey, what do you got a problem? But, or, hanging out with friends, family, you just have a lot of energy. But as you get older, you realize that your energy and your time is a little bit more of a value because you don't have abundance of it anymore, right? Somebody cusses at me or looks at me wrong, that's cool. I don't have to react to that.
And given too, like we're parents now, so like a lot of that time and patience and everything that we would give to whether we wasted on other people or not.
Yeah.
I would say like 75% of that, 80% of that is just dedicated to the kids and family in general.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest of it's hopefully business or personal time. And
you
get your little 25 cents pie and you just chop that up
Yeah.
into 10, 5%, whatever, like I definitely see how that can affect,
Yeah, most definitely. And then part of that pie, you have a very, very small piece to actually work on yourself and give to
yeah,
yourself, right? Because
yeah.
you're always providing and giving and giving. But yeah, man, my kids come first. My wife, obviously it's a very, very, very solid second, and then everything else is third.
I see you on TikTok giving your wife some hell
Oh
sometimes.
man,
Yeah.
that is my better half. Man, if she didn't have like a great sense of humor, like this probably wouldn't work. We're definitely opposites. I was, the athletic person that I always like to be around athletic people, and she's that emo kid that listened to Panic at Disco, My Chemical Romance, and so opposites attract, man. It's just how it was, and shout out to my wife, Savannah.
Shout out to the wife, man. Yeah.
I appreciate you, baby.
So, growing up, besides basketball, what kind of games was Joe into?
Oh man, so that's
Because
a good
we're, I
question.
mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah. Obviously,
we're
we're
here with a plethora
we're
of
we're
games.
surrounded by games. Um, 007, whatever Nintendo 64, because back in the day, like we couldn't afford to get a regular Nintendo or a Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. It was up until like the 64 era, where I actually got my first console that I didn't have to share with anybody,
Mm,
right? So, but yeah, the
64, yeah.
Mario 007, the first person shooter game, the very, very first person shooter game. But yeah, that was what I grew up with.
Would you say, was that one or Duck Hunt?
Ooh,
Ooh.
man, you know what?
Because this first person shooter with
Yeah,
Duck
yeah,
Hunt,
yeah,
we was
yeah.
just killing some
You're
ducks and a
right.
dog would come out. Yeah.
And my mom always looked at me funny when I held it like
Oh,
that.
little Joe over there was a little, yeah.
So why are you holding it like that? Hold it like this, son. I'm like,
Were you a board game?
yeah. I like games like Clue, any type of game that has strategy.
I was a sorry and trouble kid, man. I just,
My family will tell you, don't ever play Monopoly with Joe. He always wins, and but literally I'll be making like side deals, deals that they can't, refuse. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll get you out of these troubled times. And then before you know it, like I'm an Aquarius, so I see steps ahead, like
Yeah.
5 or 10 steps ahead. And so and then the plans are working out, and then I end up taking the rest of their stuff.
He said, don't play with him because he's about to monopolize the whole
Yeah,
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
So, quick question for you. Do you think alien life exists if there's billions of galaxies, stars, and planets?
I believe they do, man. I believe they are out there. The other day, one of my buddies posted a video, and there was this like weird light thing, and
Round Rock?
yeah,
There's one in Kyle, too.
yeah. And so they're filming it, and I'm like, what was that? And I truly believe there's other things out there.
Yeah.
I feel like our planet, to us, it may seem big, but I think we are like microorganisms
Yep.
too, right? And if we pull the microscope back out, we're just a very like 0.001% of what's out there.
So as we look through, let's say you look through dirty water
Uh-huh.
under a microscope and you see
Exactly.
little organisms,
Yeah,
right?
they're just moving.
Is somebody doing that to us? Like looking at us like, what the hell is that little?
I-
And then they go down, there's little Joe. Like, what's up, man?
For real. I mean, yeah, I think there's something, greater out there, past all the galaxies and the Milky Ways and all that. I think we're a very, very small little organism.
Somebody's up there looking at us like, look at these two little organisms just sitting there talking back and forth to each other.
For real, right?
So let's make up for some lost time, right?
Gotcha.
In the heart of South Austin, young Joe maneuvered the streets, fair to say?
Mhm.
All right. So if you could relive one of those younger moments, what would it be?
Man, I was just so like in tune with what I was trying to do, like to get to this point. But I feel like I should have just made more time for my family, myself. I feel like traveling the world before kids, I should have done that more. But now I have an opportunity to travel the world with my kids. But as far as going back, like I wish I had more time, like with my family. I missed a lot of birthdays, weddings, and all that. But I promised myself that it wasn't going to be for nothing, and here we are now. I mean, it wasn't for nothing, and now this win is like a great win for myself and my family.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times when we have those moments that we lose as kids and we spend a lot of our adulthood like trying to make it up,
Yeah.
right? Whether it be like out partying with friends, drinking or whatever like that, socializing. because we didn't, like you said, we didn't have those moments as our childhood where we were with people or we
Yeah.
were doing that. I felt a lot of that growing up as well. It was like I stayed in my room and I had friends. You know, we balled and stuff, like you
Yeah.
said. But you know, having making up for those moments as a kid, as an adult, for those moments as a kid, like we didn't have those. I didn't have maybe probably the way you're speaking, probably for yourself too. You didn't have those people that you would just go back and sit down and say, hey, this is what's going on with my life. You know, like you didn't have your parents there. Not to say they weren't there, but as a kid, it's not the easiest thing to talk to your parents. You know,
Yeah.
especially if like you're feeling something and you don't know, you don't want to be judgmental. You don't have all that stuff going on. So did a lot of that keep you into like a dark for a lot of time?
Yeah. Because in that time frame, it goes for everybody. We're also trying to learn about ourselves. What our do's and don'ts are, and then if something makes you feel uncomfortable, like how do you communicate that to your parents?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be scolded as if like, oh, I'll just man up or whatever, or have your feelings neglected, and so it's just the easiest route is just to keep it to yourself. But and it's one thing that I'm trying to convey with my kids now is that
Yeah.
be open,
Yeah.
and I think I'm doing a great job with that. The other day my daughter, she was talking to me about her crushes at school.
Oh man.
And so I actually know these, I also know these
Oh, he's
kids,
like, I
right?
know these guys.
And so it's funny, but it's like, I wonder why, and I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I know why she's into him. He's funny.
Yeah.
Guess who else is funny?
Yeah.
Her dad.
Yeah.
So, she's gravitating to what she's accustomed to, right? And so, and I also show her what it takes to, be a gentleman.
Yeah.
And, this is a great little boy, I have no, ill will towards him.
Just my daughter. That's it,
Yeah,
No
but
disrespect.
but yeah, just being able to be open, and that's something that I feel like I didn't have when I was younger, and later on in life, it would catch up to me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, any individual out there, man, mental health, man, focus on that. Forget what anybody else has to say. You matter. Take care of yourself first, because at the end of the day, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. Okay? And if there's anything, you want to vent or reach out to, I'm here. This is a safe place. If you ever want to come to Blaze Tag and talk something, we can chop it up. I'm living proof that, living with depression and anxiety, it cannot overtake your life. You can take back your life. And, this is something I deal with, way back in the day. I deal with it every now and then. I have my bad days just like anybody else, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse to not get to where I need to go. But, mental health, man, we could talk about it, Don't ever brush it under the rug. Yeah, y'all matter.
Tell you, he's mad about the community, y'all.
I am.
It's like human nature, y'all. People think it's for the cameras, and oh man, this dude's
No.
like this. The first day I technically like met you in person through over here, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm Joe. Joe's on Pros, which is a sports group, and it's like, yo, here's some tokens. Invite your kids. Here's your kids some tokens." And I'm like, yo, like this first time, like, man, that's crazy. So it's always been like just a humble person. So I know for sure,
Yeah.
like, this isn't for the cameras. This is why
No.
I'm here, honestly.
I'm vulnerable just like y'all. I bleed, I hurt, I cry, I smile, I do all of the above. You just see the successful end, but there's always a struggle somewhere.
What so part of the success too is like, what were some of those things as a kid that showed you the path of like, oh, Joe has an idea?
Yeah. So, man, just being able to be looked at as a leader, I never looked at myself as a leader, but when you have like your cousins, look up to you, your younger brothers and sisters looking up to you, and even my oldest, they say, they look up to me, but realistically, I look up to them, but just people looking to me for like answers and being able to deliver and being able to help people out. That's where I knew like I kind of found my forte, my skill is to being able to help the community, being able to lead people here, all my team will say, hey, it's the best boss I've ever had. But realistically, it's like, it's these people that actually make me look good. All I do is just give them the skills, teach them, train them, and then boom, they go out and they spread their own, and they make their own mark. And I just let them go. And every now and then I'll step in because, I need to step in.
It's a leader should, though.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not pushing them to do something. I'm like, hey, follow my lead. And then if I want to step back, then you lead this time, or you lead this time. So there's enough, skill level here for everybody to be potential leaders. And that's my goal, is to unlock all the leadership amongst all my peers here.
In the mindset of business, you like to see who you would want yourself to be in everybody.
Yeah.
Like the leader part of you.
Yeah.
So you associate that with everybody.
Yeah, and then
The
and
potential.
then the potential. And the great thing is that I've made all the mistakes for them already.
Yeah, exactly. You gave them the blueprint.
Now they just go with the success and pushing them to higher levels. And at the end of the day, once they part ways with Blazer Tag, I support them 110%. And I always tell them, hey, you need something? I'll write a resignation letter for you, a recommendation. And if you need me to
Co-sign on a car.
Yeah. Or, I help them get to the next level. I know what they're doing here. Not everybody can have the path of a Joe Michael. This is like a rare thing that happened. But at the end of the day, I'm here to get them to their next level.
So perspective, what you were saying about the kids, to you, you're this giant, strong, secure. For them, they are this small thing that makes a giant feel down to earth.
Yeah. I definitely, they may view me as like the giant, but to me, I'm down there with them. And let me help you think I'm a giant now. Wait until I bring you up to where I'm at.
Put you on my shoulder.
Then we got 3 or 4 giants.
Exactly.
Right? I always tell my mom, shout out to my mom, love you, Mom. She's always telling me, I'm proud of you, everything that you do. And I'm like, I appreciate, you doing everything that you've done. But I always tell her, so she tells me, you're going straight to the top. And I'm like, well, I'm bringing all the family with me. I was like, what's the point of being at the top if I can't bring my people up there with me?
Yeah.
I don't want to be up there by myself.
Yeah.
I want to bring everybody else. And so that includes you, that includes, Kevin, anybody else that is around me.
Right.
I'm going to try to bring y'all up. And then once y'all surpass me, then there may be a point where y'all may be able to bring me up. And so it's just,
Exactly.
it's always
The
leveling
ladder
up.
game.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's very important. Yeah, I always make sure, same way, if you get up to a next level, turn back around and see who's not necessarily like in need of a hand,
Yeah.
but is willing to listen to your voice to get to that next rock, to climb up to the next rock, to finally reach out and grab your hand.
Yeah.
Your coaching for the mountain that you're on is specific for this mountain.
Yep.
And these people are climbing the same specific mountain with you.
Yep.
So it's only right that you show them, hey, put your foot here, grab this rock, now lift up and grab on. Is that how it feels?
Yeah, and then also, if I'm not right for that mountain, then guess what? I know another person.
Right.
Well, let me grab this person. This person's good about it, and I can just connect people. And at the end of the day, like, I do things without ever expecting anything in return. And with that mindset, you just never know what may come full circle.
That's fire, man. That's it's a great perspective.
Yeah,
I love that perspective for you, bro. It definitely fits you. That's for
Yeah, I
sure.
appreciate it, man.
If you switched bodies with one of your childhood heroes, who would it be, and what would you want to do as that person?
Man, childhood hero. Man, that's a pretty good one. Man, David Robinson. I remember the first time I saw him was at the Alamo Dome. It was like 96, 97. Again, being a great student, it led to a lot of rewards. And so I managed to get 2 free tickets, and Covington shuttled all the students there and back. And so I went and saw my first Spurs game live at the Alamo Dome. And it was way back in the day. I was always confused. They had like half of the Alamo Dome like curtained off, right? But man, it was a great atmosphere. I think that was when I actually started becoming a Spurs fan. And just David Robinson, man, just, just his game, right? When I actually went to the game, I just loved the game of basketball, right? And then it was later where I just started being fond of David Robinson, and then here comes Tim Duncan. It's those people that I really look up to, is because they don't require the limelight, you know? They let their actions speak louder than their words, and they don't ever react to anything. And they're for the people. And I looked up to people like that because it's like, you don't have to be cool to be cool. You don't have to wear all the jewelry or all the nice clothes or whatnot to be considered, the greatest of all time. So I looked up to people like that, man. They're very, very humble, and they're very, very successful in their own ways. So that's why I'm just drawn to the San Antonio Spurs, and they're just very, very classy in my opinion.
So what would you do as David Robinson if you were inside the
Oh man, I'd dunk on people.
I'm dunking on everybody. Everybody just line them up.
Line them up, just posters left and right.
So in that situation, they say you spent the whole day as David Robinson. How would somebody know that it was Joe inside?
Man,
You seen like Freaky Friday, stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think I would probably convince my mom and dad, because there's only certain things that they would know about me, like the movie Big, right? I mean, I'd probably say like a line or something that they would know it's me, and then my mom would probably have a heart attack and be like, "How'd you get in this like Big Ben's body?" He's like, "I don't know, Mom."
Enjoy it, okay?
This is David Robinson.
About to dunk on people.
Take a picture of me real quick.
Yeah, well, count my rings or something.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's awesome. So moving on now, we got family and friends. Now that we're talking about family and friends, family and friends are often the pillars of support. Can you tell us about the role your family and friends played in shaping who you are today?
Yeah, man. My Morales family, man, I love them to death. My grandpa, RIP to Grandpa Morales, and then my Uncle Jesse, he's no longer here either. But I mean, my mom's side, they were very, very into my everyday life. We would always go to my grandma and grandpa's house, and we'd play in the backyard, swing set and all that. And they helped influence me and help me grow into who I am. And then on my dad's side, the Ramirez side, it was the same thing. My grandma and grandpa Ramirez, I was always wanting to spend a night at their house. My grandma would always wake up like 5 in the morning and make breakfast, and she took good care of us. And I just remember those good old days of spending the night at my grandma and grandpa's house. And I wish I could go back and relive those. My cousin George, he's been at my side for as long as I can remember when he was little. And now to kind of see him and take care of him and his family, I literally can call him up right now and, chop it up with him. And we pick up like, we never, distance each other. And if I ever needed something, I could always call on to him. And so my family's very, very tight, man. But like, just like any other family, we always have, all of our leaders. I mean, our family, I would say everybody in my family, they're leaders in their own individual way. But sometimes when you have a room full of leaders, the heads might bump. And so it's just, those as I call them growing pains. But man, when my family is together as one, man, we're like unstoppable. We're like unbeatable.
So do you hire family?
I do. And I always give the pitch to everybody who's my family that wants to work for me. I always tell them, hey, look, you're not getting the job because you know me. You're getting the job because you're going through the interview process like everybody else do. And if you're qualified, I will hire you. But once you get hired, just know I gotta be on you harder than anybody else.
You might not like them after that.
Yeah. And, I tell them if you can abide by these rules, then yes, we'll give you an interview. We'll do the process. If you don't want to do this, then I totally understand. And the majority of the times they don't go through the process. But the ones that do go through the process, I stay on them so that way there's no nepotism, no like, oh, why is he getting special treatment? No, they're not getting special treatment. They're not.
They hear it when we go home, matter of fact.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, I have family work for me. I've even had my oldest brother work for me, and my sister Desiree, she actually works for me right now. She's one of my event coordinators. She's a solid event coordinator. She's actually upstairs right now, working right now, answering booking phone calls. I have my brother-in-law Vincent. He works for me. He's very, very good with kids, and he's been here for about like 13, 14 years. The next manager up, he's been here for 15, 16 years. My bookkeeper's been here for 17 years. So it kind of gives you an idea, like the consistency we have, the longevity here. But yeah, man, any and all family, future family members, y'all want to come work for me? That's the criteria.
So growing up, you said your parents were split. Was it a single mother household?
Yeah, it was, man.
How was that? How did that shape you?
It was pretty rough. My mom worked at B12 Bingo right down the street.
Yeah, right there on Ben White.
Yeah. And so she would work, 1 to like 10. So I sacrificed some of my social abilities to take care of my kids, take care of my brothers and sisters as if they were like my kids.
I mean, that speaks a lot though, just feeling that, like my kids.
Yeah. I guess that could be wholesome truth to that. And, it was pretty rough. And so as soon as I got home from school, I would feed my brother and sister. We'd live right there off of Cherry Creek duplexes, right down the street from Dairy Queen. So every now and then we would go down the street, eat at Dairy Queen. They had like a deal, burger and fries for like $3 or whatever. The good old pricing days, right?
A little belt buster meal.
Yeah, there you go. And so,
I know. Sorry, fat boy.
And so, it was pretty tough, man. But I understood. I understood the assignment, and I put them first, and I just wanted to make sure like they were good. Right.
That's fire, man. That's when you said it naturally. That's why I said that, is because you said you're like my children. I was like, that's probably the most truth because it came out so natural.
Yeah.
And you may just be habitual for your kids, like my kids, but in that moment when you're taking care of somebody, like that becomes a possessive trait that you start to gather.
You're absolutely right. And with these young teenagers that work here, I build a good relationship with the parents, and I always tell them, hey, when your daughter here, your son is here, that's my daughter, that's my son. My job is to make sure that they're safe and they're able to go back home. And I always try to look after them because I would appreciate it if somebody, reciprocated that and did that for my kids, so I'm just paying it forward.
Right. Man, that's exactly why I'm here today, man. See that y'all are learning while I'm here. This is exactly what it's for. A memorable moment with your family. Pitch me this moment as a scene for your biopic. You're directing it for yourself, right? Direct me this scene of your best memory with your family.
Man, it's a good question. You ain't lying. You had some fire-ass questions.
Got you, bro.
That's pretty deep. Man, I guess it was just like graduation. It was very monumental for me because growing up in the setting that I had, like you're not supposed to graduate, right? You're supposed to have, kids at early age. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just makes things a little harder for you. And you have all these distractions. Then not only that, you're playing father figure to your youngest, and you're just set up for failure. But the fact that I graduated, it just led me to believe that I could do anything that I put my mind to, and that solidified me going into my early manhood. And nobody was there to actually help me get through school. My mom, she put a roof over my head, but it's not like my mom was helping me do my homework, right? So everything that I did, like I did it on my own, whether it's, studying for tests, waking up early in the morning just so that way I can go to school on time. That right there led to a lot of, discipline that I had because I could have skipped.
Right.
I could have went with the wrong crowd. But I also had a lot of people who kept me on the straight, right track. They see me getting off the track. Hey, you need to go back over there. That's not for you. All right, But yeah, just graduated, man. And then at the end of it all, like I had all my family and friends were celebrating, and I was like, man, because of me doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm surrounded by all this love, and people that were supporting me and rooting me on from afar. And, you know, that set a lot of, you know, set a tone for my youngest cousins, you know, for them to graduate and for them to make it too.
So what would if that was the movie, what would that be titled?
Ah, man. What would it be titled? You know, usually I'm pretty good at these things because I do all of our marketing here, so I have all these like quips. Um, I would call it A Boy Named Joe.
Boy Named Joe.
Pretty simple. Less is more.
Coming soon to the screen near you. Boy Named Joe, the graduation story.
We're gonna get that guy from the Karate Kid to play me.
Oh, the new Karate?
Yeah, the
original.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Miguel.
Miguel. Be ready, Miguel.
Yeah,
We're gonna
I
holler
got
at
you.
Netflix. Let's go.
Let's go.
Challenges and growth. That's what we're on right now.
Mhm.
Life wasn't always smooth sailing for me or a lot of us. Like any journey, there were challenges to overcome and lessons to be learned.
Mhm.
What was an impactful moment that you faced during your upbringing?
An impactful moment, man. Just growing up the way I did. Like I knew that wasn't normal, right? Because I would always see people have this and have that, and I always wondered, you know, why we didn't have that or why couldn't we do that. And then I just realized that there's different tiers of how people live, and we were on the bottom tier. And I always looked at like, how can I get up there? And there was no like blueprint, no script. You can't read that, right? And you just have to just adapt to your environment. And it's all about survival. It's not the smartest person, it's not the strongest person that survives. It's the one that adapts to change the quickest is the one that survives. And I've learned that when I was little, and just being surrounded and what I saw is like, well, this is not fair. How do I level the playing field? And so it was at that moment where I realized like hard work, you can get anything. With hard work, you could be as equal to anybody. But then it didn't stop there. Once I got to where I needed to be, then it's time to give back, because there's other Joe Michaels that are going through the same thing. Or there's a potential Joe Michael that is good at school and needs that extra push. You just never know who is watching. And when I move a certain way, right? And I just want people to be able to look at me and be like, you know what? If he can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And so just that impact alone when I was younger, it just helped me mold to what I want to do, where I want to be. And it's the reason why I had kids later on in life, because I knew what it was like to bring kids at an early age, and I saw the struggles. And it was when I was, you know, I had that foundation, I bought a house and I was pretty set. That's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring, you know, I want kids now, you know? They're not gonna be able to.
What age was that?
So I had my first kid with my wife, age 29. So my daughter's 9 years old now. My son is 8. Shout out to K. Marie, Jose, love you guys.
Shout out to the kiddos.
Dad's doing it, look, we're making it.
We here, baby.
But, you know, I use that so that way I could better myself and break generational curses and just do things differently.
Yeah. I know you're like really into sports. Do you feel like the sports culture built up this leadership mentality, this consistency of leading? Do you think that had a big influence?
Most definitely. Because at the end of the day, you know, team sport's a team sport, but every now and then you'll have your flashes of leadership. And sometimes it may be this person for this game because he has the hot hand. Or it's me because, you know, I'm playing good defense and I've got so many X amount of steals, you know? But leaders, they lead when they need to lead. They'll step in. And if you're a really true leader, sometimes you'll let other people lead.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think of the best leaders are the best followers?
Yes, truly.
I do too.
I was a really great follower.
Me too.
Until it got to a point where it's like the teacher can no longer teach the student anything. Now the students become the teacher and the leader. And then they branch off and you go, and then all of a sudden you have these people following you, and it's like, well, let me teach them what I was taught, right? And so, yeah, not many people can possess great leaderships. People think they are bosses or leaders, but real leaders, real bosses put their people in a position where they're going to succeed and not fail. And if they do fail, then guess what? I'm going to take the hit for that. Hey, that wasn't your fault. That was me.
Yeah.
I should have been with you at that. But hey, let's see the beauty in this. Let's learn from this together, and let's keep moving on. And you know, it's just all about building people up, man. That's what real leaders do. And they know their people's do's and don'ts, and they just put them in scenarios where they're going to thrive and succeed.
It's good words right there, man. It's out of this world insight right there, y'all. This is intel that y'all need from Mr. Galactic Spaceman himself.
That's me.
That is definitely Joe. Nah, man, I really like that, bro. Like, I'm definitely. A lot of people don't even know that they possess the leader traits because they never had a leader to show them or tell them, like, yo, this is great. Lead your team to do this, right?
Yeah.
That they don't get those encouraging words. They don't get those setups.
Yeah. And then some bosses, some leaders, they're not true bosses and leaders because they use their status and they don't actually use it for the good. They use it to manipulate people or throw them under the bus or use people for their next come up or what.
The take, not the give.
Yeah. So I truly do try to use mine for the good. And at the end of the day, I'm human too. And I always tell my team, you know, regardless if it's a 16-year-old working for me or the 30-year-old working for me, hey, if there's something that I can do to, you know, better myself for you or the company, you know, let me know. I'm not always right? I just have a lot of experience, but I'm very open to new ideas and how to better myself. And so I always try to use my leadership for the good. Never ever try to, like, you know, take advantage of people.
Neutron stars are formed when a massive star runs out of fuel and collapses. What would a sugar cube size amount of material from a neutron star weigh on Earth? 1 ton, 1 million tons, 1 billion tons, or 1 trillion tons?
Man, 1 trillion ton.
That's wrong.
It's
1 billion tons.
1 billion.
That's about as much as a mountain.
I make billions when you can make millions, you know what I'm saying?
Or trillions. So I like to do this thing, man. It's called the vision. Right? And the vision is my outside perspective. Just to kind of wrap up everything, that first part of what we just talked about, kind of just gives you my outside perspective of you and everything that you have going on.
Gotcha.
So with the vision, often we get this window view of your life. A lot of us don't get the time to get close enough to someone to learn their ways, their habits, and their intentions. From the window view I'm looking through, I'm sure others feel the same. Joe is a community leader and the change that we would want this world to be. Beyond the walls of Blazer Tag, Joe, you're not just building a business, you're building a legacy. Your vision extends beyond profit margins and bottom lines.
Yes, sir.
It's about creating a lasting imprint on the hearts and minds of those you touch. Those are the flowers that I have for you, just to let you know, like, how I look up to you, how I am inspired by you as a leader, a friend, and for inspiration.
I appreciate that.
I always believe folks like you should get them while we're here.
I appreciate it.
I don't ever want it to be too late. What I could have said to you, I think I do this specifically for that reason. Like, I want to get to know the people I look up to. And so for me to you, you know, those are my early flowers to you before you never get a chance to hear them from me, brother.
That's solid, man. That's real.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So chapter 2, the journey begins.
Welcome to Blazer Tag Adventure Center, the arcade and laser tag experience for kids and adults. Enjoy the largest laser tag arena in Texas and step back in time with the only classic token system in Austin. Blazer Tag mixes retro gaming with modern tech. Stop by on Ben White Boulevard and make memories at Blazer Tag.
So as the cosmic currents of fate brought Joe to Blazer Tag, a new chapter in your journey unfolded. Pre-employment, break down the first memories of stepping into this building. Blazer Laser Tag.
Man, so when I mentioned that I would spend it on my grandma and grandpa's house, and so they would end up living right here off of Emerald Forest by San Elmo. And I remember I would cut their grass, right? Just so that way I could earn a little $20, $25, right?
Some day spend.
Yeah. But as soon as I'm done cutting that grass, I started early because I knew Blazer Tag was gonna open. It was called Laser Tag at that moment. I knew it was gonna open, and so once I got paid, I would ask my grandpa Ramirez. I'm like, hey, Grandpa, can you take me to Laser Tag? And he's like, yeah. So I'd come here with $25. I would get 3 games, sliced pizza, soda. They didn't have arcade games at the time, but it was just enough to, hang out here for about 2 to 3 hours. And so I worked hard so I could play harder. And so when I came here, I was like, man, I was just blown away because I like playing video games. It probably reminded me of 007 at that time, right? And when I came here, I just thought it was so cool. It was so futuristic, like the technology behind it, because I didn't know what laser tag was. Nobody could afford laser tag system at their house, right? So nobody had it unless you had a facility like this. And so I remember coming in, I could smell the pizza. It was very chilled in here, and everybody was just happy. And I'm like, it's just a happy place. And so that's my first interaction with Blazer laser tag.
Blazer laser tag, yeah. That's why I told you I hit up. I was like, man, yeah, they asked, oh, Blazer laser tag. I remember that. I was like, man, Blazer laser tag. And to this day, I still call it Blazer laser tag.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to call it Blazer tag.
Yeah.
Because it's so embedded in me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, definitely those early memories I have. My buddy Manny used to live right behind here in those apartments. Me, him, and my friend Tyler, my friend Nick. Man, we would just, like you said, cut some grass, do some chores around the neighborhood, whatever, to make some cash. And I think at the time it was like, you get like 4 games for like $14 or something, right? It was like $3.25 a game or something back then or something. I remember we used to get 2 games each, and we would, wait our 15 minutes, come out here, hang around, go back in when they call our number, and then, yeah, like those were the memories that of early childhood, middle school, going into high school. Was like 99, 2000 days when I remember it for sure. Those were the days that I looked forward to, just like you said, like, yeah, go to Blazer Tag. It feels happy, it feels good. The technology, the space, I love space. So this is why it makes me happy being out there. I've always been a friend of, fond of science, space, outer space, all that stuff. So when I had this place, and then laser tag, like, how do you not like
Everybody
laser
loves
tag?
laser tag.
And then you learn it's like 3 stories. Hold on, man. Like, yeah, it just changes your outcome and your perspective of like what fun is. It's no longer outside playing tag. You can now shoot and play laser tag. It's like those fun things. So definitely the technology. It was new. It was fresh at the time. So
yeah, most definitely.
Definitely played a huge staple in my upbringing on that part too as well.
Different world, right?
Oh man, it's so different, bro.
But that's how I know people were originally from Austin. It was like, oh, Blazer laser tag. I'm like, yeah, you're from Austin.
Yep.
Everybody else.
And you remember the guy Nitro, right?
Yeah, Nitro, man. He looked like the Tick. Oh, the good old days.
So give me some facts about laser or Blazer tag.
So we are the biggest laser tag arena in Texas, 3 stories high, 10,000 square feet. We are the only arcade, probably in Texas now, that still uses tokens. No card swipe. We still pay out tickets.
I found one on the floor.
You found some tokens as we were setting up.
Yep.
We're locally owned, and we truly do love our guests. We don't have the big deep pockets like or feel free to blur that out later.
As the other entertainment
entertainers, we don't want to give them no advertising. They don't
definitely
need it. We truly do care about our customer service, and we want everybody here to feel like, hey, I can't believe they did all that for me. So we truly do care. But yeah, those are some fun facts, man. We're doing what we're doing now, and it's working. We plan on adding some stuff here and there, but that's to be determined.
When was the building established?
So we opened up 99, so that was 3 years before. But the original owner, Thomas Mayone, they did everything from ground up. Little funny story. Him and his wife, they were thrill seekers. They always like adrenaline rushes, and so they went up north to Laser Quest as their date nights. And so they would go in, buy a couple of games, and then they would see all these people come in, birthday cake, pizzas, and then they would just be like, oh, your room's over here. And then that was it. They didn't have no party coaches, nothing. So they understood that there was a demand for something right there and then, that they could do it a whole lot better. He owned a computer company, and they got bought out by like IBM or Apple, one of those Silicon Valley days, right? So he got bought out. He used that money to invest to Blazer laser tag. And so they wanted to do that concept and make a whole lot better. And because of them going on date nights, we're here, you know, and it is a ripple effect to where we're at now, you know. But they opened up in '99, and that's the reason why it did open, is because they wanted to do it a better way of doing it.
Before Blazer Tag, what was this building?
Oh man, Southwood Theater. I saw countless movies. I remember one time, my uncle, he was babysitting me, and he had a date, and so he brought me along in his date, and I saw Blood In, Blood Out here.
Oh shit! All right, nice.
You know, I wasn't supposed to be watching that movie, but you know, I'm a solid wingman. I wasn't gonna like, you know, block him. And so here I am sitting in this row by myself, and I'm looking, and I'm like watching this movie. I'm like, this movie, I'm actually like intrigued by it. And then my uncle's sitting, you know, behind me on his date, and yeah, I saw Blood In, Blood Out here. Probably shouldn't have watched it at, you know, whatever age I was at, but, you know, that was the first movie I saw here that I remember seeing here.
So historic building for this side of town. Definitely seeing the change from the movie theater to Blazer laser tag to a big spaceship hanging out the building.
Yep.
Aliens all over, crawling all over the building.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, the glow up.
Definitely a glow up. We established the brand change like 15 years ago, and so that's where we went from Nitro to like the spaceship. And a little funny story, we were looking at marketing. We were wanting to spend like, you know, 70, 80K for some billboard off of Ben White. And so we were doing our due diligence, doing our research, and those billboards are like $5 to $8 grand, like for a 30-day campaign. And it's like, well, if he did a whole year's worth, you know, it would come out to about like 80 grand or whatever the most. And so we were like, well, we're going through this new rebranding thing. Why don't we just do our own billboard? And so we paid X amount of dollars. They put that, you know, scene outside, spaceship crashing. You know, we did it in phases. At first it was just the spaceship crashing. And then we added the aliens and the people, the whole like action scene. And that was probably like the best decision we ever made, because, you know, it's still paying huge dividends. It's still advertising for us.
You'll still, it's right off the highway.
It is, and
so it's a major highway. Well, not major. It's for Austin, I guess it'd be the second major highway, third major highway for us, Ben White. But yeah, you're stuck in traffic 9 times out of 10 around, you know, traffic time, and all you see is just little green guy, a big silver spaceship crashed in through a building.
Miss it. Can't miss it at all. So it was probably one of the best decisions we made back in the day.
You know, before ownership, right? As an employee here, what were some of those moments like that shaped you?
Yeah. So there was one, you know, just the fact that you can make people's days, right? You don't ever know what people are going through when they step into this door. And so they could have a family death or stress or whatever, you know, but they come here for an escape, an outlet to be happy. And so being able to put smile on people's faces and just let loose, that was impactful. And one of the things that I did as that I liked doing here in my younger days was party coaching, man. I was a very, very solid party coach. The dads liked me because I could relate to them, sports talking and all this and that. The moms, you know, they liked me because I was organized and I was in tune with the kids and, you know, did everything for them. And there was one party that I did, and I think I was serving like pizza or something, and my birthday kid was missing. I was like, where's my birthday kid? And so I remember him saying that he needed to go to the restroom. And so I went in, and I told the mom, I was like, I think he's in the restroom. I'm gonna go check up on him. And and I see him. He's like, face is all frozen, and he's like, looked like he was crying. I was like, what's up, buddy? He's like, and so like he moved his hands and he literally peed on himself. And so I was like, all right, how are we gonna get out of this? This is where this leadership thing comes in, right? You adapt to whatever is given to you. And so I'm like, all right, I got an idea. And so I grabbed some water and I put it on my pants.
The old Billy Madison.
Yeah. And so I'm like, just follow my lead, okay? Trust me. And he walks behind me. We go in the party room, and all the kids start laughing at me because they see me first. I'm like, yeah, you know. I was like, me and the birthday kid, we had a little water fight while we were washing our hands, and guess who lost?
Yeah.
And it's me, like, just covered in water, right? And then I just pulled mom over. I'm like, hey, he kind of went on himself, but, you know, let me go get something so that he can tie around and just cover it or whatever. Right. And so that was one of my fond moments where, like, you know, nothing prepares you for something like that. Right, so you have to adapt to that. And this was me being 16 or 17 years old, and I just helped this kid, you know, eliminate, you know, humiliation. You know, there's no coming back from that. But the fact that I helped him out, like, that's one of the things that, like, stuck to me. And I'll never ever forget that kid. I always wonder, like, where he's at, what he's doing now, or if he still remembers me or still thinks about that. And I'm pretty sure he does. But if you're out there, man, I'm here.
That defines everything, you know, it just solidifies again everything that I believe that you are. So, you know, it's not hard to believe. It's not hard to say, Joe didn't do that. I could definitely say, yeah, I'm pretty sure he probably did that, man. Like, that's just the kind of person.
It was scary, though, man. It could have backfired. And I'm happy that kid trusted me, man. But we got out of that.
Codename Iceman.
That's me.
Could you share this little story behind your nickname, the Iceman?
Yeah, the Iceman. All right. So a lot of people think it's from Top Gun. It's not. Like I said, I'm a big Spurs fan, and I like more of like the older days of basketball, even though I wasn't born at the time.
Right.
I like the art and beauty behind basketball if it's played right, you know, team ball and all this and that. And so George Gervin, man, that guy, I mean, he helped San Antonio get to where it's at now, you know, as far as like establishing a foundation. But I just loved his game, man. Loved his game. Very humble, and he's just very smooth with it. And so, like, you know, before then, like, I wanted to be like Manu Ginobili or this and that, but it's like, you know what, let's take it back to the old days where it started. And I was like, the Iceman. So that's where my nickname comes from.
Not Paul Wall either.
Yeah. And so my wife actually was the one who realized where I got my code name. And at that time, she was my girlfriend. Maybe we were just talking, but once she told me, she's like, I know where you got your code name is because of George Gervin. I was like, it was at that moment I knew she was going to be mine, and I was going to marry her.
She was, if you know the Iceman, yeah.
She's a keeper.
Yeah, you're a keeper.
Keeper.
You know, so, good for you. Good for you, wifey. Good for you.
Yeah.
In what ways do you think your nickname, the Iceman, reflects your approach to the role of blazer tag and the interactions with visitors?
Yeah, I mean, calm, cool, and collected. And just when you think like I'm freezing up, it's not really me freezing up. It's just me just like going through the motions in my head. And then I'll react. Or then I'll put this play into motion. So I'm always trying to be calm, cool, and collected.
Nice. When I used to come in here, I used to pick Iceman because I saw it on the list.
Yeah.
And Sniper.
Yeah.
Those were my two names that I always came in. And it ended up becoming more Sniper because if y'all don't know, I take laser tag very seriously. I have to be first or second at all times. When I come anywhere past second place, I get a little frustrated and I buy another game and I prove that I was getting triple teamed, quadruple teamed.
Yeah.
You know, it's very serious in this arena.
It does get serious.
You know, you'll come out scratched, bloodied, bruised. Might hit a knee on a, you know, level 3, you know, wall. You just never know, you know. It's a lot of things. I know y'all revamped at one time inside there, right?
Yeah.
We added a little bit of...
We added some ramps,
windows,
a bridge. We do some mirrors, some more lighting in there. We put some we invested in some more lighting, our stereo system. So it's a whole environment, man. And the good thing about, playing multiple games, like no game is going to be the same because there's always going to be different people, different team, different this. And so that's why a lot of repetitive play comes. It's because, it's not going to be the same game. You may get first place one game, and then you may get second place another game.
That's it, though. First and second. Nothing else.
I've seen it. This guy is always like first place.
And I take it serious. I come out sweaty. I don't give a dang if you're a kid, you're an old grandpa,
Or
mom.
your own kids.
My own kids get it. Oh, my kids get this work. They know
They
that.
do. They do.
know.
Anybody can get it.
The kids' friends, everybody. It's just, when you grow up in this arena, you take it serious.
Yeah,
It's
most
just-
definitely.
and I'm happy. That's my yeah. I can't, it's getting me amped up right now. I just
Yeah, I
want to go in
know.
there right now.
Hey, let's go.
If you could choose a new nickname, would you still be the Iceman today?
Yeah, to this day. Yeah, if not, I would probably use my other handle name that I made up like 10 years ago. My favorite player is Manu Ginobili, so I merged that together and I made it Joe Nobly.
That boy Joe Nobly.
Joe Nobly 20. So, but yeah, man, Iceman just stuck with it. And believe it or not, I have my own special here. It's called the Iceman Special. If y'all ever want to get served an Iceman Special in the arena or outside of the arena, I'm here.
He's gonna come first place. That's what that Iceman special is. Don't let him fool you about the inside arena thing.
Yeah.
You may get a drink called an Iceman as a combo meal, but the Iceman inside the arena, you don't want no.
You don't want none of that.
I promise you. Yeah, that's dope. I love the Iceman. I think it fits you.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Cool, smooth. Yeah, man, just chill. Overall,
That's what it
chill,
is.
right?
Yeah.
So what we got here is what's this right here that we're holding right
So
here?
it's our laser tag vest. One of the reasons why we're the biggest laser tag arena in Texas is because we can have 57 players at once. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of players.
a lot
And
of
so you have your phaser here. So we try to kind of keep things family oriented. So we never say gun, we say phaser, and we try not to say shoot, we say tag. So, but other than that, you got your sensors in the front and the back, and in the nose of the cone of the phaser.
Yeah.
And so, I'll let Eric tag me because he's the professional here. Bang. I'm down for 6 seconds. Can't tag.
Rank first.
And then once I stop blinking, you'll be able to fire once again. But back here it has the LCD, lets you know how good or bad you're doing. But as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters.
That's right.
Look at that. You're still in first, huh?
I'm always gonna be in first or second. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I don't care who I'm playing against. Yeah, man, get a little laser shot on y'all. Yeah, man, I just wanted to show everybody this cool thing. When you hear this sound,
You hear the plink?
that means Eric tagged you. And then when you hear this sound right here,
That means
that means Eric's about to tag you again. So you just gotta run and hide. Don't forget about that.
You
Shout
got
out to my boy Iceman, man.
Bang, 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 bang.
Iceman and Sniper, we're coming through. Oh, we gotta do a little.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do a little blazer tag pose here. So rise through the ranks. Like a comet streaking across the night day, Joe's ascent through the ranks of Blazer Tag has swift and unstoppable. How did you progress through the ranks at Blazer Tag, ultimately becoming the owner?
Yeah, man. So when I was, before my manager days, I didn't have great leaders here as far as management. And so I wanted to have some change. I always felt like if I had the ability to change this place for the better, I wanted to. And so I had some managers that weren't very fond of me. Believe it or not, I almost lost my job a couple of times, but it was because I had poor leaders and it just wasn't fair. And so I just did what I needed to do to kind of be, back on the good end. And then I knew once my time came and I could make a difference, I'd be ready to. And as I grew up, went from, when I became a manager at first, I started at the very bottom of the totem pole. Like, I was probably the youngest manager. I was maybe like 19, about to be 20. So youngest manager at Blazer Tag, and I always wanted to know what I didn't know, and I figured if I improve myself as an individual, everybody else around me would benefit from it. And I didn't want to do my team a disservice and just be on this plateau, right? And just, oh, I'm manager now, so power trip. That's not what I wanted. I actually wanted to make some changes. And eventually, I started being mentored by the general manager, Jackie Thomas. Still to this day, I owe him a lot of my success, man. He taught me a lot of things. So shout out to Jackie Thomas. He retired from Blazer Tag. He lives in North Carolina now, but I owe a lot to him. And so when I stuck to him, he would ask me questions, and you know, he would ask me my thoughts about this and that, and I would let him know. And then, you know, and that's where I saw myself actually having a voice that mattered. And you know, during those days, I was just learning a lot here. And then I actually had an opportunity where Blazer Tag would send me to school. I went to college, right, to get a business degree, ACC. So not only I was working my job here, I was going to school when I wasn't at work. And so going back to me being an Aquarius, man, I always had plan A through Z, right? So I knew I was gonna do something with business, but I also wanted a safety net. So with Blazer Tag wanting to pay for my tuition, that was great, because my pitch to them was, hey, I'll better myself for the company and I'll be here for X amount of years if y'all pay for it. And the owner, Thomas Mayon, agreed to it. But little did he know was this was the motion going into it, that one day I was going to be either opening, you know, Laser Palooza or buying Blazer Tag. And if none of that worked, guess what? I still had that degree. So something was gonna come out of it. And I went to school, learned marketing, learned accounting, learned all this and that. And, you know, as I was moving up in ranks, I realized how much more responsibility I had, how much more power I had. And I used that for the better. I used that to drop knowledge on my peers. And, you know, once it got to that opportunity to where I'm like, all right, now's the time to pitch my pitch, right? So Thomas Mayon, he owns other businesses, and he was never here. And I remember calling a meeting, and believe it or not, like I was sweating bullets because I was about to tell the owner how I felt, right? And it was gonna end one or two ways. One, he was gonna understand my perspective and realize what I'm saying, or two, I was gonna lose my job, right?
And you were planning that too.
So, well, good thing I didn't lose my job,
We'll
right?
skip to the end of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're here.
And so I went up to his office, and man, my heart's beating out of my chest, man. And I'm like, sir, do you care about Blazer Tag? And he's like, well, he's thrown off by the question. I'm like, well, why do you ask? I'm like, well, the way it was before, you would be here all the time. We had meetings, we did games, you know, we would have prizes, do this and that, team building, right? So, but you're not here. I'm literally doing everything myself. And there's so much that I want to do for Blazer Tag that you're holding it back. You're holding my growth back. And if I can't grow anymore, then the people underneath me cannot grow anymore. So you're doing a disservice to the brand and what the potential that we have for this place. I said, you ever thought about selling? And then he understood and he realized what he was doing, because, you know, there'd be a move like where, hey, this movie wants to film here and this and that. I need you to sign these contracts because, you know, you're the owner or whatever. And sometimes I'll lose out because he didn't sign it fast enough, right? That's revenue that we didn't have. And so I just wanted to cut the middleman out. And so now we're here now, and we're where we're at. And I have a business degree that was gonna be my safety net if this didn't work out, because then I was gonna go open my own Blazer Tag, right? Or Laser Palooza.
Yeah, tell us about that. We got to hear. Look, I saw that.
So, Laser Palooza.
Early mind.
Yeah. So I was, what, 24, 23 maybe.
Hold it to that camera right there.
Oh, and so yeah, man, I did. It was supposed to be a school project, and for ACC, one of my business classes, and I ended up running with it and actually writing a legit business plan. And this was back in 2013, and 2013 or no 2011, so 13 years ago, and it was gonna be based out in Kyle, man, and I would have been right if we would have built there. Everything's booming out there. We got everything out there.
Yeah. About to have this Waffle House and
For real, Panera Bread, everything.
all that good stuff.
Got
man.
everything out there. You know, I wrote down a whole business plan, and the only thing that was against me was, money talks, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was just a kid with a dream, and nobody wanted to fund it. And I even tried to talk to some investors and be like, hey, look, just go out there and buy some land, and, let's just sit on it. If anything, it's going to appreciate in value. You could always sell it and then make a profit just holding on to the land. But, again, I was just a young individual. I was 10 years in of my career here at Blazer Tag, and nobody wanted to give a kid a chance. And so, but now we're here now, and, I truly believe that sometimes things don't work out. There's always something better in mind. And the way I look at it is I'm glad it didn't happen in a way, because man, we wouldn't be here where we're at now. Owning a piece of Austin, not many people could say that. And something that's well established. And I always treated this company like it was my own. And I worked it as if it was my own. But I was just tired of doing it for somebody else. And I just wanted to make this move to where I can do it for me, my family, my community, and then, get to the next level where I want to take Blazer Tag to.
Speaking of that, it's actually a good segue to the next question I have, where what are some of the ideas and milestones that you plan to establish and set here now that you're owner?
Yeah. So I want to add to this, obviously.
Mhm.
We have a spot, an empty lot next door to us, and I want to do something where it capitalizes on live music, right? Because we're the live music capital of the world, right? And I want to build something out there, patio, stage, but I also want to put an attraction out there, a couple attractions maybe. I want to do maybe possibly go-karts out there. Not your average go-kart that you just go round and round. This one will probably be like almost like a roller coaster type of thing, even though you're actually in a go-kart. You go round and round up, and then boom, you just hit a drop, and then you just keep going, right? Maybe even doing some 9 holes of miniature golf out there, and then putting a bar and patio out there. Then you got live music kicking, and then at night, the environment can evolve into a different type of environment. Now the go-karts light up. They have neon lights or LED lights underneath it. It looks like Tokyo Drift, and then you're able to see that as people are driving past on Ben White. But at the end of the day, there's no go-karts here in South Austin. Right. Everything's up north.
They took away Celebration Station.
Yeah, man. That's actually one of my childhood memories, Celebration Station. Yeah. And who would have known that I'd be in the same industry? Being a kid, enjoying myself.
Joe didn't know, man. Joe had a whole business plan for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You've had those thoughts in your head probably for longer than you knew. You were able to translate it through laser tag, because that's where your familiarity was at the point.
Yeah. And you didn't have to start over, right? But yeah, man, it's just crazy how things just come afloat in fruition. And those are some of the things that I want to add to this place. And then eventually with my partners, shout out to Snea. Snea is my partner. She helped me with this acquisition. She comes from a corporate background. And so when you have somebody who knows the ins and outs of Blazer Tag, and then have somebody from a corporate background, you have the perfect storm brewing. And so one of the things that once the ownership transferred, one of the clauses was that we have to get Blazer Tag, the licensing and branding renewed, and not only in Texas, but in all other 49 states. So you see where I'm getting at with this. So we have this person in a corporate background, you have me who knows the ins and outs of what it takes to run a family entertainment center. We want to open up different sites. We want to start with obviously in the Midwest, and then we'll see how farther north we can go. But this right here will be the staple. This will be the headquarters.
The blueprint.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I have people here who've been with me for a very long time. My goal is to take care of them, right? So if we had a blazer tag, you know, in Oklahoma or wherever, you know, I can send a manager out there and then make them, you know, part owner, you know, reap the benefit, and then they basically take what we take here over there. And then my event coordinator, Desiree. Now we have like 10 event coordinators, and she's the senior vice president of, you know, event coordinator. Now she oversees everybody and makes sure everybody does their plan. So I just want to be able to create jobs and then also put my people on. Like I said at the beginning of this interview, what's the point of being at the top if I can't bring my people? So
Is that how you measure your success?
it's putting people on. I don't want it all. Like, what was it? Pimp C's like game of pie.
Right.
I don't want it all. I just need a slice. I just want a slice. I don't want it all. At the end of the day, we can't take anything with us, right? We're all gonna be gone from this earth.
So what's your most proud moment or achievement as being a new owner of this place? Like, what are you most proud of, that step that you took, the initiative that you took to say, all right, let's get out of this old way or old thinking or anything like that? What is that move that you made that says like, damn, that was a great move, I'm proud of that one?
Yeah, you know, just so when I initially became, you know, owner, you know, there was a lot of things that I wanted to change. And so one of the initial changes that I wanted to do was look after my employees, right? And so that was to give them better benefits, better, you know, pay time off, pay increase and all that. You know, I wanted to do that as my first owner's like duty, right? A lot of people don't know it, but whenever you're the owner of something, you got to pay your payroll, you got to pay your bills, electric bill, your vendors, all that. You got to take care of all that first. And if there's anything left at the end, then you take your cut. But we're in a new era now, right? So right now, you know, we're probably breaking even, or maybe there's a little bit of profit, but if there is, then I just reinvest it. And so that's one of my biggest accomplishments, making sure my people are taken care of. And I want them to know that, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not all about profit margins and living the fabulous life, whatever. Look, I'm okay with just going to Spurs game. That's my habit right there, right?
Pay for those season tickets and we're
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Everything else is good.
But, you know, giving them the chance to have their opportunities in their lives, right? I want to be able to provide for them. And so that way they can make their own mark wherever they want to do. So that's one of my biggest accomplishments.
It's the most Joe thing that I could think of, man. Like, I swear, man, it doesn't surprise me that you say any of this. Like, I have these questions specifically for this reason, because I know the person that you are. I don't have to like force these questions or answers out of you. Like, I know they're all genuinely hit,
Yeah.
You know, your feels or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
They're all definitely in there. It's just sometimes we're so humble about, you know, where we came from to where we are now, and the job's not done. So it's like, we can't celebrate yet, but that's what my job is for. I'm here to celebrate for you. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you have that day of like, you know, reset. Damn, I see it now. I see what I've done. I see the trail that I've paved and all that stuff. Like, I love doing that for people. I don't need it done for me. I think this is what does it for me.
Yeah.
Is being able to like see people like, man, I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, good. You're not supposed to.
You're
You're in the move. Your focus is
Exactly.
that final door that you have to break down to where all those dreams and aspirations and ideas, business plan ideas, all that stuff that you had written down will come to fruition when that final door is broken down. And it may be from here to that day that it does, that you may be able to do each one of those time and time again. And so, like I said, man, I don't put it past you, you know, accomplishing anything in this field. One family, that's something you have locked down great. and entertainment. I think you know how to host, whether it be here or outside of the facility.
Yeah,
You know how to play a role, and you know what your position is. Like you said, if
most
you're leading
definitely.
steals, I'm gonna lead my steals. What are some of the game modes here at Blazer Tag that we can play while we're here?
So we got their standard team game, red versus blue versus green, right? And then we have the standard solo, right? Those are the ones that we normally play during our public hours. But we also have a game like Zombie, where everybody is green except for one person.
Mhm.
The computer generates one random red person, and that person has like the zombie virus. And so that one red person tags a green, then that green turns into red, and
Mhm.
before you know it, you have a snowball effect of all these greens being converted into red until the last like 5 greens. There'll be announcements like 5 players left, 4 players left, and then once the last green person gets tagged, they become the new zombie, and everybody cycles back to green. And so it's a never-ending cycle until the time expires. I like to call it like a high-tech advanced version of like hide and seek.
Yeah.
It's not the person who can tag the most, it's the person that can hide the best
Right.
and not get caught. It's usually the one that's the winner, because you get like extra bonus points added to your total score if you're like the last person to get tagged. And so it's funny because you just hear people just running, and even though we're not supposed to be running, but it's hard not to run.
It's hard.
I honestly catch myself running in there, and so it's just one of those games that just they get you thinking, get you moving. It's just be really quiet, So it's a definitely different element, different environment to that game.
Right.
And then we also have like capture the flag, right? Or assault, where you have to assault your opposing team's base. So we have more than one game back there, and usually we bring out those games during like private events or whatnot, because normally we can't do those during normal business hours because it's a little bit more complex to explain these games how they work.
Right.
Especially Battle of Blazer Tag. That one right there actually has different role players. You have a sniper, you have a medic, you have the spy, and all this, that, and that. And so those are very, very complex. You have like 2 or 3 games happening at the same time with these role players. And one of these days I'll have to show you that game.
So yeah, we definitely got to check out those game modes. I've always been interested in more game modes. I love the whole concept of Blazer Tag. Like I said, it's so fun, and it's different. You don't really get to experience this experience anywhere else.
Nowhere else.
3 levels, crazy, screaming, yelling, strategy. I mean, you go in there, you don't think you're doing it, but you really are. Like, you go in there and
It's intense, man. Adrenaline pumping.
So, did you know that you could fit 1.3 million Earth into the sun?
I did not know that.
It's a true fact. Just to let you know.
Man, it's a hot fact, man. No pun intended.
Fill in this blank. Your love for the Spurs is
forever.
Forever. I like that. You've always been one to dream big and make things happen. One of those dreams was to bring the Spurs energy to Blazer Tag and set your sights on none other than who?
Wimbyama.
Boy, Vic, man, tell us about your plans to bring Wimby. What brought that on?
So I think LeBron James called him an alien, right? He's not from here. He's from a different planet. Because, everybody's been called a unicorn and this and that, rare. And so when LeBron called him an alien because he's not from here, Wimby actually liked it, and he stuck with it. And he actually uses it for his brand. And so, they were going to be here during spring break for their I-35, series where they played at the Moody Center. And so I had this marketing plan to kind of draw attention to him, which was unsuccessful, but it's all right. You just keep at it.
Tier 1.
Yeah, and Victor, he's really, really tall. He's like 7'5" or whatever. And so my marketing strategy was to put on our billboard like, hey, Victor, we have a big enough spaceship for you with plenty of legroom, you know, come visit us or whatever. And so even though I didn't get the Spurs team here, it was still great because I saw people who were Spurs fans here taking a picture with the billboard and, you know, posting on social media. So we ended up reaping some benefits from the back end. People were advertising us for free, you know, just a photo op, and everybody loves that. So.
Well, it's not over. So what we need to do is we need to tell those viewers right there what they need to do to make this happen for the city of Austin.
Oh man, just, you know, share this and try to get the attention of Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs organization. You know, let them know that anytime they come into Austin, man, the Blazers Tag doors are always wide open for them.
Come do your photo op in front of the spaceship outside, in front of the Blazer Tag sign.
Yes.
Tag Spurs, tag Blazer Tag,
Wembanyama,
tag Wemby,
yeah.
tag LeBron. Because if LeBron comes, because you know I gotta come.
He's gonna come if LeBron comes.
You know, and I'm gonna come when Wemby comes. You know, that's a dog too. So, but yeah, no, that's what we need to community call out for them.
There you go. Yes.
So as we come to an end, I want to do what I love to do most, and that's put life in vision. You're not just only a business owner, you're a trailblazer, a change maker, and a source of inspiration for all of us who cross your path. How do you envision yourself continuing to inspire others and shape the future of not only Blazer Tag, but the city of Austin?
Just basically just using my platform to do good and help level the playing field for everybody else. I've already leveled the playing field for me, and just kind of help make the next Joe Michael happen, or just helping people who need help in general. I don't want it all. I want to give it back to the community. And a lot of people don't realize it's the community that makes businesses. It's the community that makes the foundation for successful businesses. And that's why I'm always giving back. And it may not be a full circle right there and then, but eventually it's going to come back one way or another when I really need it and I'm not expecting it. And then boom. You know, put out what you put out into the universe, and then you'll be surprised what comes back. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree, man. I think you've put a lot into this universe, out of this world, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, this everything. I believe you're attracted to, you know, the life that you build and the life that you want, and everything that you attract is going to be a representation for it. So your thoughts may have been out of this world, out of your mind, out of your own imagination of how far it can go.
Yeah.
So I think this building fits you. It fits everything about you. The fact that Wemby is now going as the alien.
Yeah.
You're a Spurs fan. All these are symbolic, and you know, all that stuff matters.
Yeah.
Especially for us who are constantly looking for that next thing to grab, the next rock to climb on. Hold on to those gems and hold on to those little ideas. Hold on to these symbolisms and everything. They're going to keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to stop.
It's not.
I don't see it ever stopping for you.
We're just barely scratching the surface. And it's funny, we've been here for 25 years, and to say that we're barely scratching the surface, you know, it's crazy to think that, man. So, but I'm living proof. Anything is possible. There's no real key to success. Truth is, the door is always wide open. It's just a matter of you just wanting to walk through it. And the way you walk through it is you plan and prepare, and then when it's your time to shine, you execute your plan, and the rest will all fall into place.
Yeah. So as we wrap it up, man, you like to give anybody shout outs? Let us know how to get a hold of Blazer Tag, book a party, all that good stuff.
So my lead event coordinator, Desiree, she'd be happy to book your parties over the phone. 512-462-0202. I'm pretty sure Eric's going to put it somewhere like right here.
Maybe up here. I'm not sure yet.
Or you can book online, blazertag.com. And, man, some people I want to give a shout out to, man. I'll shout out to my team, Russell, Julio, Vincent, Chris, CJ, Luis, Justin, Mark. Those are like all my like core key people. They do what they do, and they let me, focused on the bigger picture. My boy Garrett, G Money, and then everybody else who is, not a manager. Without them, they're key pieces too, and they make this company go round and round. I want to give a shout out to my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, and obviously my wife and my kids, and then my close circle that I have. Shout out to Gary G. Smith, Alex, Larissa, Sarah, the Nerdy Nutrition, Nez, Kevin with Big and Little Productions, and my boy Eric.
Hey.
Yeah, I appreciate all y'all supporting me and sticking around me. When you surround yourself with great people, great things happen. And I'm very, very picky who I have in my circle, which, I believe everybody has that right to be. And
Definitely.
I just want quality over quantity.
And to just seal the bow tie on here, give us one little word of encouragement to somebody, the next job.
Next show, man, don't even worry about the failures, man. You struggles are good. It's what you do after that defines who you are. You get knocked down, you get back up. If you have obstacles, adversity, face them head on. Don't run away from your problems. Great things happen to people who don't, shy away from obstacles. You overcome those obstacles, it makes you feel proud, it makes you feel confident, and then you go to the next thing. And you just start building and building. And don't ever stop until you get where you want to go. And, I'm living proof that anything can happen, man. I'm a nobody that came from nothing, right? And so I guess I'm a somebody now, right? And I tell people that I graduated from Travis High School. They always correct me. They're like, Lake Travis? I'm like, no, Travis High School. Oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, not bad for a kid from Travis.
Old 12 from 35.
Yeah. So don't give up on your dreams, man. You just keep doing it. Those struggles and pains are going to be worth it. I promise you. Just stick with it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it again, Joe, man.
I appreciate
Not
it.
only the history lessons that we learned about one of my favorite places growing up, but just sitting down, encouraging, inspiring, leading. Most important, man. Just keep doing that. And obviously, you out of this world is not even the limit there.
There you
You know
go.
what I'm saying?
It's infinity. It's infinite.
That's right. That's it's your boy Eric, man. The Real World. Again, shout out to Joe, Blazer Tag, Austin, Texas. Y'all know where to stop by. Book your next party here, man. Let's do it. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
that was pretty good, bro.
I need to show them the vest.
Oh yeah.
Gun, man.
Yeah.
I
We
do
got
that as
everything.
B-roll
We got,
footage.
yeah. Let me start up a game real quick.